Deep breath. Skateboard in the background. Truly's in hand.
Hey, I want a skateboard with my name on it.
Steve, is there a history behind that skateboard behind you? Is that an OG?
No, that's like actually one of my latest models, latest graphics. It's basically their new technology for PAL. It's called the Flight technology. It's got carbon fiber in it.
You've got a bunch of models I noticed on your website. Shout out your website.
Yeah, got a website, stevecaballero.com, where you can find everything related to Steve Caballero, signature decks, helmets, T-shirts, socks, trucks, and hopefully some music
Art?
coming up. I have a couple of art decks, but I don't really sell my art on it yet. I just kind of really strictly stick to skateboarding with it.
Hopefully some urethane coming up here pretty soon, huh?
Yeah, we have a bunch coming up. You'll check out the Cybertrack's website is going to do a big blast here pretty soon with all the vinyl and CDs and colorways and merch and platforms. There's all kinds of stuff coming up soon that we don't have pictures of and we can't really say too much about yet, but
I was checking out the Cybertrack's website, and you guys are right at top, dude.
with the newest edition.
Fucking A. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Officially.
Thank you.
Chad Ruiz, Steve Caballero, Urethane, thanks for being here.
Thank you so
Welcome
welcome.
to Palapalooza. We'll chat all about the band. Steve, I think you're a skateboarder, I hear. We'll chat a little bit about that.
Yep.
You guys were hanging out with Tom DeLonge, I saw on Instagram. How was that?
Fun. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, hadn't seen him for over 20 years,
Yeah, it's been
honestly.
How did you originally meet Tom?
I met Tom on the Vans Warped Tour
Right.
when Blink-182 was on the tour, and I was on the tour and for like months on end, and just traveling with the whole tour and hanging out with all the bands all the time. And we would see each other every single day, eat same places, and they'd come and watch us skate the ramp, and then we'd go on the stage and watch them play. And
Rad.
there's a couple times I got to get on stage and play a couple songs with them, so it's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
What songs do you remember?
I played Damn It.
Did you?
Yeah, I played it once in Australia and once in Hawaii.
And you were obviously skating on the tour.
Yes.
No, not playing in a band,
No,
but jumping
no.
up as much as you could.
No, yeah. So I was a professional athlete on the Vans Warped Tour, which basically started around 1996. And then Vans bought the whole tour, and then I got hired as an athlete to go on every single year. And I met a lot of bands and became friends with them, and they knew that I played an instrument, so it would either be guitar or bass. I would hop on, once a day. I would hop on, the stage with one of my favorite bands and play and learn their song.
They certainly go hand in hand, punk rock and skating.
It does. It definitely does. Just the attitude back in the early 80s and the raw energy and just the vibe.
the rhythm fits.
Yeah, just the DIY vibe of being very creative with limited things, and just making the best out of the situation and having a good time and exploring new avenues, whether it's skateboarding or whether it's a guitar,
You've both been a part of a few projects. Chad's been a part of Skipjack for 50 years here in San Diego.
25 years.
We were talking about that, dude. I mean, we played together back in 99, right, ish?
So Skipjack's been together 25 years. That means we've probably played with all of your bands.
You were saying off mic that you have your friends' kids coming up to you, right?
I've had a couple people who we've played with that were kind of grom bands in the last couple of years that are like, my dad's band played with you guys back in da-da-da-da-da, and that's... I've had a couple of those. It's been kind of a trip. Some kid, we played with a Brick by Brick show, and it was a North County band, and whoever it was, his dad was the singer of a band that we played at Street Scene with in 97 or 96 or something like that. It's like, oh, you guys are still together, yeah. Same band.
A different era in the music industry.
Way,
For sure.
Way different.
And, I mean, how excited are you guys? This is amazing. You're signed to Cybertracks. You guys have all sorts of amazing shows and festivals planned out. Haven't even released an album.
Nope.
But it's coming. But it's coming. I mean, isn't that just the ideal way of doing it, though? Really,
It's it's different. It's different than I think any of us have done it. Like I was telling you earlier, we have. It was such a new thing. It was almost like if you were to start the band on a reality show. Like, here's 4 strangers. Your objective is to go into this room for the next 2 months and make this record. And your next mission is to go off to Santa Ana, California with Cameron Webb and make this record as great as you can. You know, it's been one of those things. So, like, we've had to learn along the way our personalities and, you know, how to work with each other. But it's been super fluid the whole time, almost as if we've all known each other a lot longer. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's actually been easier than most projects that I've either recorded or I've been a part of. You know, it's been a really easy, just super good group of guys, and we've been really fortunate and really blessed at the opportunities that we've gotten and how fast we've gotten. So I understand the eyebrow raise when it's like, oh my God, you guys are on everything right now. How great.
well, it's dope. I'm just super excited for you guys. I mean, if you don't know, Urethane is Chad and Steve, and then you have Tim Fennelly from War Fever, and of course Dylan Wade from the Bump Pops, who's on Fat Records.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So a bit of a super group, really. How it was a COVID sort of project, I believe, right? How did you guys all get connected?
So, you know, this band is basically a collaboration of what we've all learned over the last, 20, 30 years. So it's not something really we're starting from scratch. I mean, we've already put the work in over the years, playing, recording, and it's kind of like an established band making a side band with different members. It's not like they got to play these shows to prove themselves. They've already been in bands that have already proved themselves. So putting us all together, we didn't have to go through the growing pains of like learning how to play our instruments or learning how to write songs. We were already professional musicians. So when you put professional musicians together in a room that can feed off each other and also click really well and have great ideas, you get a band like Urethane, and so we're all into it for the long run. We're all serious. We all have experience, so that's a great combination for a good band, and to answer your question, I was actually in another band prior to Urethane that I played bass in, and we were together for about a year, and we were writing a bunch of songs. We had about 10 songs, but no singer. And then eventually I was just like, we should find a singer. So I used my Instagram page to kind of put some feelers out there and say, hey, I got this group, we don't really have a name yet, but we're looking for a singer, and that's when Tim came into the picture. I didn't know who War Fever was. This guy reached out to me through an email and sent me his demo tape. And basically this demo tape that he sent me was a project that he was working on his own to do a solo project. And he was basically all ready to release it. Yeah. Seriously, like...
He was weeks away from releasing it.
Yeah, he was going to release this 5 songs?
Yeah.
5-song solo record. Because he didn't sing in the band War Fever. He just played guitar, and maybe he did some backing vocals or something.
Yeah, he wrote songs, and he had some backing stuff, and I think his songs were kind of turned into their style of song, I guess you could say. But nobody had an idea of what... He's such a laid-back, humble guy that I don't think anybody really knew what he had in him. Right. I've played music with him for a few years, and I was actually like jaw dropped when I heard his demo. Like, it had been a long time since I've been that proud of somebody that I knew for the songs that they were writing. Like, that good.
Totally.
I
agree. We were talking off mic. I've heard Gravity in Wyoming, and Gravity's available now. And Tim's got some skills, dude.
Well, that was the song that he showed me.
Wyoming?
No, Gravity.
Okay, cool.
And I was like blown away. I was like, wow. This guy's good. He can sing. So I presented it to the other 2 guys, the guitarist And the drummer, and I said, hey, what do you guys think? And they look at me and they listen to it and they're like, not gonna work.
He's a little soft.
Yeah, he's a little soft for our hardcore band.
They're fucking hating life now, dude.
And I'm like, really? Like, I guess we're not. Like, I thought to myself, I guess we're not really on the same page. So I was like, I was confused. You know, I was like, do I continue like maybe doing some side band with Tim and continue with this band? Because I was 1 year deep, 10 songs deep into like forming a solid band.
What was that band name?
Well,
Did you even have one?
No.
Okay.
And that's funny because that's another thing. We would try to think of so many different band names.
Did you bring up Urethane at one point?
I did bring up Urethane.
Oh, shit.
And they said no to it. Okay, so that was a sign right there.
Get an attorney just in case.
Right?
No.
No, but seriously, when we're looking for band names, it came to a point where do we have to make up a word because every band name has been used, and it got ridiculous. I'm like, oh, well, it'll come to us someday. So, anyways, I sleep on the fact that they don't like Tim, as you know, want to work with him. And finally, I called the drummer and I said, hey, thinking about quitting the band. And he's like, what? He's like, I'm like, yeah, I feel like we're not on the same page and I'm going to just go with Tim. So I called Tim and I said, hey, Tim, I quit this band. Like, do you want to start a band together? He's like, sure. And then sure enough, I think it was a couple days or a week later, he found a drummer and that was Dylan. He put out a little, feeler out there. Hey, anybody know a drummer? And
he did it on like the ninja black market because nobody knew what he was doing at all. I had no idea until Steve posted on Instagram. I'm like, wait, like I just practiced with that guy a couple nights ago. I didn't not only did I not know he made music, but now he's in he's starting a band with my childhood hero. I'm like, what is this?
Right.
Like, I totally didn't get it.
And Dylan must be busy too with Bomb Pops, right? But
no, he's not in the band anymore.
Oh, he's not. I'm sorry. Okay,
No.
cool.
He's our original drummer.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we have our first practice,
Right.
and it goes really well. And so we just start practicing. And basically, I was just going to learn Tim's solo record because I liked the songs, and it was just an easy way to form, get to know how to play with each other and everything. And then 4 months into doing that, and Chad had come to one of our practices with who? Who would you bring?
It was a friend of mine that I'd come with. I told Tim, my whole end was like, dude, I'm so proud of you, especially doing something with him. I want to record something. I'll do it for free. Just let me record something just because whatever.
Get me in on this.
Like, yeah, I'm just totally stoked on it.
Yeah.
But the whole time, what these guys don't realize, I'm hearing as soon as I hear their songs, I'm like, Tim, this is designed for 2 guitar players.
Right.
I have this half stack in my garage. I'm totally your guy. I bugged him forever.
Chad fucking nuts his way into it, dude. I love it.
So forever, I was like, if it ever comes up, you know,
Yeah.
and I was kind of hassling him jokingly. And then, he called me one day and he's like, Steve wants to play second guitar. I'll play bass. Kind of
Were you stoked?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the day you heard that you were in.
Yeah,
you were
it
pretty stoked,
it
huh?
basically, so it was 4 months into playing, and then I just had this wild hair where I was listening to the music, I'm like, I think this band would be more solid if I pick up a rhythm guitar and his leads will pop more, and there wouldn't be something dropping out of there, and then I could add some more melodies to the songs. And so I called Tim, I said, hey, do you mind if I play guitar too? And he's like, no way. He's like, you got to be kidding, right? I'm like, why? He's like, because my friend Chad really wants to be in this band.
He's been sitting outside of my house for weeks now.
And I'm like, and he wants to play bass. And I'm like, okay, well, he's in. Like, I already was like, I didn't even know Chad. I met him once when he came to practice. I'm like, well, he's in.
Well, no, we met beforehand, but as if Steve's only met 10 people in his whole life. And I told him so the couple years that Skipjack did Warped Tour stuff. The night when I came to the practice, I was like, oh, yeah, we're on the Warped Tour together. Like, he would remember me out of the 10,000 people he was with a day.
That's amazing. So how long have you guys officially been together? I want to say January.
Well, this is the crazy thing. So we schedule a practice, right? with Chad.
And Hindsight, right? Hindsight, is that where you guys are jamming?
Yeah, was that where it was, the first one?
Yeah, we did a 3-hour practice at Hindsight.
Yeah,
hourly, yes.
Yeah, and then so I don't know if it was it the practice or was it a week later that you came with the news?
It was it was even worse. So here's where
he just got in the band, like
here's
one practice.
Here's where the fisticuffs might come, and I apologize in advance. So I learned this stuff. Tim's like, yeah, let's jam. I think it was a Friday. We're gonna practice on Friday. So he sends me all the songs on Wednesday. I learn them at home, and we go in and practice on Friday, and it goes good. You can totally tell just by eyeballs on everybody. We click right away. It sounds really, really good, and that night after the practice, I've been friends with El Jefe and his wife Jen, who owns Cybertracks, for a lot of years. And we were just kind of chit-chatting, and I brought it up. I was like, so I'm going to do this new cool thing that's like fun with, Tim, and it's got Steve Caballero in it. And, oh, that's cool, because NoFX have been on the Warped Tour for years, and they have stories together. They were acquainted. And I'm like, yeah, check these songs out. So I sent them over the songs, and it was like instantly she's like, you need to throw my hat, I think her words were, you need to throw my hat in the ring for this. This is good stuff. Well,
you're like, okay.
Me and Tim are hanging out. Like, maybe we'll come up tomorrow and say hi. We drove up, it was the next day after the practice on Saturday.
Tell Jefes.
Yeah, and we all had lunch. And by the time we were done with lunch, we were scheduling a Zoom call, I think, for Tuesday to make everything. So it was the day after our first practice.
Wow.
so Chad brought a record deal along with being the bass player.
Yeah, but player. I mean, it was one of those things that they if I was ever going to trust somebody's opinion and like, hey, you're doing the right thing, not just because of the names involved, but the quality of the songs. To Tim's credit, Jen and Jefe are some of the smartest people when it comes to the decisions they've made with bands, who they choose. It's like a chosen, it's a family type of situation, but they've always been very critical and very careful with who they deal with. And I was like, yeah, I knew it. These songs are good. Like, to Tim's credit, it was based on those songs, this whole thing. So,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I knew the songs were good too, and that's why I left a band that I was with for a year, just to put all my eggs with Tim, because I just knew that it was a winning deal.
Yeah. Tim, you should have been here, bro. Tim.
He'll
Tim,
be
where
back.
are you? He'll be back.
He'll be back. And you know what? Like he was saying is like, how quick we've gotten the support. When you're playing music with the same guys for so long, and somebody might do a side project or might veer off a direction, it's always kind of like that. You're in a marriage and your significant other kind of sneaks off, and there's that instant kind of jealous feeling that every musician kind of feels a little bit. The songs were definitely good enough, and the quality of people were good enough that the biggest supporters that I've had since we started this were the Skipjack guys.
Right on.
Like Jordan and Justin and Aaron have been nothing but like, yes, like go get some. You know what I mean? Like That's so awesome. Like not only are you doing this with Steve, but these songs are great. Like there's no denying it. You're not just like not hanging out with us right now to go do this other thing. Like, you're part of something that's actually like really good for a reason. And those dudes, I can't say enough about it. That was the testament to Tim's songwriting in the beginning for me. Was like, I expected, because I know how I would feel if I was in their shoes. We've been such a tight-knit unit for so long, that there was going to be a little blowback, but it's been totally the opposite. Everybody and all of our families, friends, corners have been super supportive of this.
Great to hear.
So,
and then our guitar player for the Faction, he's been super supportive, and he's really stoked on my new project, and also he has a new project as well that we'll be playing a show together at Punk Rock Bowling.
Sick, up in Vegas.
Yeah, his band's called Suburban Resistance, and he actually is our original name. Well, he's actually our original drummer for the Faction for a little bit, and then he went straight to guitar and wrote all the songs, but then now he plays drums for this band.
And the Faction is still going.
The Faction was a band that I created in 1982, and we were together till 1985. We did 2 U.S. tours, 84, 85. broke up, got back together in 89, broke up, got back together in 2000, 2004, broke up, got back together in 2011, and played all the way up into right before the pandemic. And at that time, I was like, I want to call this quits, like, because it's been a great road and it's fun playing with you guys, but it just wasn't refreshing to me as a musician. There was no room for growth. We're all from different parts of the U.S., and California, and it was just hard to either get together and write music. So it was just playing the stuff from the 80s, and it gets old after a while. It's fun to do, but like I like playing it, but I don't like listening to it, because it's stuff 30 years ago.
Right.
Right.
Urethane, the sound, we were talking off mic, Chad, a little more melodic than what you guys have been pursuing, correct? The Faction,
yes.
Skipjack, obviously, a little more melodic. Do you want to talk about the sound? Again, there is a single out now. There's a music video that Mario shot that's out for Gravity as well, right? That should be out now, right?
Well, as we say this will be aired after it's released.
Correct.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing here, Chad.
Yeah, the way we've gotten a lot of comparison bands out of it, but right now the way that I've explained it is hopefully it translates live, where guys are going to be able to kind of like run around and bump into each other and do their thing, but their wives are going to really enjoy listening to this while they're driving around in their cars too. Like, it's something that there's a little bit of everything on this record. There's fast, there's slow, there's mid-tempo, there's really slow, there's aggression, there's sadness, there's, it all has traits that I think are going to kind of, everybody's going to be able to take a little something away from this record that they relate to, I think.
What a cool experience too for the band is I've never worked with a music producer before. It's always been kind of DIY and kind of record our own records and work with the guy who's working the board, engineer. And but I'd never been in a band at a point where you had a label putting out funds to pay for this really crazy producer that was experienced. I was just never on that level with a band. I mean, I've been in 4 different bands: The Faction, Odd Man Out, Shovelhead, and Soda. Soda almost got signed, and that was the Warped Tour times. But there was some internal stuff that happened that kind of broke the band up really. But that was, I say that would have been the first successful band musically, but eternally. I have to work well with the people that I'm working with, and my sanity is worth more than fortune and fame. So if I can't be associated with these people, then I would rather just leave the project.
Dude, I'm really stoked to see you guys live, honestly, and I know you guys are excited to play live. September 4th, Agent Orange. September 23rd, Soda Bar in San Diego. I'll be at that one for sure. Little Soda Bar action.
You better
stoked?
be there.
Yeah, I will be.
We're stoked about it all.
We got a show, in less than 18 days.
Yes, 18 days.
Yeah, we're playing Big Bear at the Cave with Pulley, right?
No, they're not on it, but we're playing with Guttermouth and Death by Stereo and Authentic Sellout, our friends in Authentic Sellout.
That's right, I wanted to shout that out. Sulo of Authentic Sellout's going to be playing that.
So it's 2 days of it's Guttermouth for 2 days called the Gutter Fest, and lots of rad bands, a lot of friends. So it's going to be our first time really being back with all of our friends and friends bands, like those bands, and like the dudes in Chaser that are killing it right now with a new record out. They're going to be out there, so it's going to be cool to see Bill and those guys. And the whole lineup's just rad. And we got a bunch of condos down there that Felony Ron from Felony Records is putting us up into. And I don't know, I think we're going to drive some boats, some mountain bikes. I don't know, just going to make a weekend to celebrate our first, it's our huge coming out to the world showcase or whatever. It's going to be a rad weekend.
August 20th at Big Bear. Death by Stereo, Get 'Em Out the Line, Good Guys in Black, and Authentic Sellout. Yeah, it's going to be dope.
Yeah,
kind of your first show, right? Your first big show.
It is our first show.
You had the Memorial up in Alpine.
Yeah, Good
right?
Guys in Black, Rick Thorne's band as well will be playing with us.
Yeah, that's our that's going to be our first like regular real show, our big boy show.
Who is booking the shows for you guys? Is that mainly Cybertrex that's kind of helping out?
No, we have a booking agent at Covert Booking. Landon and Dave over there are going crazy right now. We got new show offers almost every other day or something cool.
Yeah, and we're also using our own resources too. You know, we're trying to use all the connections that we've, relationships that we've had over the years to get onto certain things. And the bottom line is, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Right.
So when you have friends in higher places, just, hey, what do you think? Do you think we can hop on the show? And they've said yes.
Isn't that great advice for a new band? Like, I'm so of that mentality. Like,
well,
what's the worst that's going to happen if you ask?
Yeah, the worst thing that's ever going to happen is no. And learn from other people making mistakes.
Right.
And never be afraid to ask. That's like half of the secret of life.
And you guys have kind of already grabbed that knowledge, right? And experience from doing this for so long, right?
I have fallen because there was a 25 years worth of DIY. I've learned everything not to do.
You fucked up a lot, haven't you?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Skipjack's never had grand mistakes where we'd look back and say like, oh, I wish that hadn't happened. We were always very careful with how we treated people that we dealt with and promoters and fans and friends and everything. We were very verbal about making sure that everybody that we dealt with were very much taken care of with the thought of down the road, like we are with Urethane right now, you're going to need that connection one day. Don't burn bridges.
Right.
Like, enjoy this. And it's kind of like, you want to nurture it and take care of it and have it, evolve into other things. And a lot of that's to the credit of just making sure you're just good to people. You're present and good.
Totally.
And so on that note of connections and stuff, so on the record, I was like, man, we need to get some guest singers on this record that'll help promote the record, pump the record up, and give it some respect. And so I'm like, man, maybe we can get like Toby from H20 to sing a song,
Toby.
And I go, well, he owes me because I was a guest on one of his last records, and I played guitar, and I even starred in one of his music videos as well. I'm like,
he had to drop in while playing in a pool while playing a Les Paul into a pool for the H2O video. Watch it.
Yeah.
It's rad.
It's off their
Check
last
it out.
album. The song is called Skate. And
I'll try to include a snippet of that.
Yes. And so I was like, he owes me. He can't say no. There's no way,
Yeah.
And so I put it out there. Hey, Toby, we want you to sing. Come in the studio and I was getting a little bit of experience working with Cameron. So when Toby came in, I started working Toby, and he was getting pissed. I could tell he was getting pissed. Like,
if we could have had video of Toby in the sound, but first of all, if you ever get the opportunity, Toby is probably one of the most infectious people to be with as far as positivity. Like, the world is better with Toby Morse in it, just plain and simple. But he's in there recording vocals, and Steve's going, your enunciation, you're not really following him. Like, he's taking on what he's heard from Cameron and things are starting to stand out to Steve differently now. So like, Steve is starting to hear what he wants. And he's in the talk back. Yeah, your flow, like right there, just, you're not following Tim. And you could hear Toby after take 10. He's like, I love you, Cab.
I love you, Cab. I love you, Cab. No, but I was like, I just wanted, he never practiced with us, so it was all new to him as well. So I kind of wanted him to sing like Toby. Like, I wanted him to, because I wasn't sure he knew what we wanted. So I just wanted him to bring out his voice. So when people heard him, like, that's Toby Morris from H2O.
Definitely Toby Morris on that record.
Yeah, and he killed it.
I'm glad you brought that up because you also worked with Jim Lindbergh on a track, correct? From Pennywise.
Yeah.
So you've got a couple collaborations here.
And that was another feeler. That was like, hey, why why don't we just ask, and Jim said yes.
Were you critiquing Jim a little bit too?
Actually,
he mailed his in. He did his at home. He got the song. And again, though, to Tim's credit, Cameron had the idea of like, hey, give this song to him, blank canvas, and let Jim write this part, and you'll get the best version of Jim if he's able to write this part. Jim heard the lyrics, heard the song, and he was like, no, the song is great. I'm singing what he wrote.
Yeah.
Like, he was all in on Tim's word. And the same thing with Toby. Like, Toby was all pumped. We were all excited. The vibe in the studio was good. And he said the same thing. He's like, dude, you're a real singer. Like, you're a real songwriter. You're, and, you just see, like, that glow on Tim's face. I really wish that the people that hear this record are, like, would have been able to share that moment, like, they were so stoked on it, and all their parts are so rad. Like, Jim's parts, like, just, you'll see. They're both so great.
He killed it. And so I think the whole process with all this is, I think it's given Tim a lot of confidence in him, in songwriting, and it's just going to snowball to make things even better on our next record, I would have loved to get more into the writing and bring some songs to the table to actually, be in that creative part. And you brought one or two songs.
I think I brought one.
He brought
what
one
song. Is that, Chad?
It's called Hold a Place in Time for me.
Okay.
It didn't make the skipjack cut a couple times. It just didn't fit. You're
bringing some B-sides to the table, huh?
No, it was just, it was a little bit more singy, I guess you could say. Like, it was a no use for a name kind of song.
Sure.
And it didn't really fit what we were doing or whatever. But giving it to these guys, we learned the song, and I actually wasn't there. I had other priorities that I couldn't get out of when they did the guitar tracking and the vocals on that song. And I remember, like, driving when Tim texted, I think Steve texted to me, and I was driving just kind of like, oh, I got a little goosebump. Like, I'm like, yes, they did it. They did it. So it's their own way. It's totally different than how I wrote it, but, it has a little bit of everybody's feel on it, and it was stoked. I think, and again, we didn't really have much time to go, like...
We had 3 months.
Steve, let's hear your 10 songs that you have right now, or 10 song ideas you have, because it was like... It was so planned out on the calendar, like, okay, we're going to write a song tonight. 2 days later, we're going to practice all the songs as a set. Then we're going to write a song. And, it was very, very, it was done like the military, as far as like,
right.
We were very, very on time, very on track, and very disciplined. Yeah.
Is Tim military?
No.
Okay.
And to be honest, we were a little dishonest with the label.
Ish. You can say ish.
We won't tag Cybertracks.
There was a lot of songs. We just didn't know them.
We didn't know them yet, and we didn't. Yeah, and we didn't have them down.
Fucking fake it till you make it, right? A little bit. Huh?
So we had to work. I mean, we said we had like enough for an album, but we didn't yet. They were floating around, but they weren't songs.
So we've got like 20 songs. Oh, cool. Well, we'll figure our best 10 or best 12, and we'll make a record out of it. There was 20 songs. But still to this day, we've only heard 12.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a lot of ideas. So it was coming down to, actually, the song that Jim sang on is my favorite, I think, on the record.
Inheritance.
It's called Inheritance. And we figured that one out. We finished that one the night before we left to go to Santa Ana.
Yeah, to record.
Okay. So it was just enough to, like... We had the structure down. Okay, this is going to have bass distortion. This is going to have like this cool little lead part that sets the tone of the whole song. And then the rest of it, like, we didn't have any idea until...
And like I said, like, they're like, yeah, we're going to learn all these songs and maybe we'll bring some in and we'll drop some. I'm like, no, every song that we do has got to be work. Like, there's no, like, bringing extra songs. Like, we don't have time to, like, learn a song and write it and be like, nah, it's not good enough.
Right.
No, they want 12 songs. We're going to focus on 12 songs.
Yeah, when you realize, like, you try to set, like, the next time you do a record for your band or some sort of recording for your band, do it from scratch and just say, okay, here's how long it'll take me to get 10 songs done. And then set a deadline, and then calendar your practices for songwriting. Mm-hmm. it will change the way you like see everything.
That's scary.
No, it is scary, but at the same time,
it's scary.
Yeah, but it can happen.
It's scary,
Right.
but at the same time, like, we came together so much faster and so much tighter than anything that I've ever seen.
Totally.
Like, we have that feeling of like, I feel like I've known these guys forever, and we're still learning stuff out about each other.
And also, like I said, the record took 3 weeks to record. When we first walked in there, 3 weeks later, we came out with different songs.
Yeah,
like there's different melody hooks that weren't even invented before we went into the studio.
Yeah.
So when you hear some of those leads and stuff, you know, in the songs, those were written in the studio and they weren't even part of the song.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
And
Do you think this project would have happened if it weren't for COVID?
yeah. I have kind of my feeling. What's Steve think?
you know, I don't really think it was that affected it. I think that affected maybe people playing live and focusing on, let's play some shows and then let's write some songs. Let's play some shows, let's write some songs. This is like, we can't play, we're just writing. So I think COVID is actually a good thing for bands, because that's when they should have went into the studio and started getting creative, instead of being like, oh, we can't play live, what are we going to do? Well,
Yeah.
write a record.
Yeah. To me, I
Write a
think,
record.
I think when I look at, like, when I've done it a few times where I've taken inventory of personalities, like taken the inventory of the four of us, and I think the right people came together at the right time.
Right.
Like, it was something
You had
that
the
was
universe working in your favor a little bit here, I think.
Well, no,
That's
it-
kind of what I'm.
it-
No,
like
No.
it wasn't natural, huh?
No.
Okay.
It's the whole. That's where I really feel highly. I don't believe in chance. I believe
Okay.
in choice.
Sure.
And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's like, you ever get a place where you have a fork in the road and you have to make a decision which way you're going to go? Well, that was that fork I was talking about. I could have said no to Tim and just stuck with this other band,
Right.
and I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now.
Right.
But that was my choice. Now, before that, Tim made a choice to have the balls enough to send me his demo tape. If Tim didn't send me this demo tape, I wouldn't have heard it. We wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now. So it's a combination of people's choices that brings everything together. It's not chance. It's not, oh, you know, the stars are lining up. No. Everyone's made a choice.
I feel stupid.
producer Steve breaking it down for you.
No,
Sandpaper in the house.
Everyone-
Sandpaper in the house, folks.
everyone's made a choice and it's lined up. And
You're totally right.
it's about wisdom, you know, seeing an opportunity and going for it, you know. And if you have some experience of capturing opportunities, it works out for the benefit of you. But then there's a lot of times where there's a lot of opportunities in front of you and you're just too afraid to even go there. Then it's gone. So I'm all about seizing the moment.
Yeah, it's
All about seizing the moment.
Chasing Horizons.
There you go.
that's
Do you want to talk about that name? Because I noticed a quote on Cybertruck's website.
so yeah. That
Chasing
was-
Horizons is the name of your full length. September 24th coming out.
Yeah. So the prequel to Chasing Horizons, to expand on what Steve was saying, life is about trying to minimize your what ifs. At the end of the day, when we all take the
Right.
long road home, you want to have as few what ifs as humanly possible, seizing opportunities,
like
you know? And Tim had a line in the song about just kind of like dropping what you're doing, being out on the open road, chasing a distant horizon. You know, it's in the song Wyoming. Second single that'll be out. Great song.
Hey, it is a good song. I love it.
And it's just been one of those things, like there's been little benchmarks that have been set for us or that we've made for ourselves. Starting with ourselves, we made strict goals for ourselves, and we're very, very strict about practices, what we're going to do when we're at the practices, and all of our goals. And we've been chasing those successfully since we started. I don't think there's anything that we tried to do or set some sort of calendar date to go after and we haven't fulfilled. You know what I mean? On our part.
Right.
So it's like that's what we've been doing for the last 6 months, is chasing horizons. You know?
And I think part of that goes to the fact, like, okay, so the decision of like, what are we going to use for the cover of the album? You know, so a lot of the guys in the band were very adamant of using Mark DeSalvo, the artist, because he had worked on other, you know, album covers like No Effects and No Use for Name, and was it you or Tim that said, "Hey, I want to use this artist for the album"?
I think when I can't remember
because Tim found the painting, but who wanted to use Mark? Because I had ideas of different artists I wanted to use, but
if I remember correctly, I think it was something that he made a post. Mark DeSalvo made a post, and it was something that me and Tim had talked about, like we had liked, like something like this would be rad, because he was definitely on our list. We had 5 or 10 artists that we'd all discussed about doing the artwork or whatever, but me and Tim had commented to each other like, wow, like something like this would be really cool. And then Tim had called a few weeks later and was like, so he made this originally for a band, and this band backed out and decided they weren't going to use it. And now he's posting about it, that he hopes that one day it'll get used for something. Though one we were originally talking about, like, dude, that's rad. That's rad. You know, we were so stoked on it. And Steve is part of Punk Rock and Paintbrushes, an art collective that's full of musicians and skaters and artists and
tattooists,
beautiful people, and like just a wide range of people that you should look into. Punk Rock and Paintbrushes. It's everything about it's rad. He went to go do one of the art signings they were doing. Tim had gone to one of the art signings that Steve was going to be at, and Mark DeSalvo was there with the piece hanging up.
Wow.
And it's when they brought it, like, we would really like to use this, you know, and Mark was just over the moon, huge Cab fan, you know, and just stoked that we'd even thought about him for the record. But
that's rad.
So now
I don't know if I've seen the art.
So he's on
the sticker that's.
Yeah,
that you just gave me. So it's on my fridge.
So Mark actually gets.
Dope. It's on the side, Cab. Cool. Okay. I'm looking at it right now. Awesome.
Mark actually gets lit on fire in our music video. If you see the guy running around on fire, that's actually Mark DeSalvo.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's the best.
Right. So going to deciding what we're going to use for the cover. I mean, so that can be a band argument right there.
Right.
You know, and so for me as an artist, at the end of the day, it's like picking and choosing. It really doesn't even matter. You know. And I think a lot of people spend too much time contemplating, saying, no, I really want this. I think this will be good. You know, for the bottom line is I'm thinking you know, Tim, this is Tim's project. I mean, this is his baby. What does he want? Right. What artist does he want? You know, I want him to be happy, you know? So it's like, you have the options here of different artists. I can give you all these artists and this is what they can do. What do you want?
Right.
You know? And I'll be happy with that. You know what I mean?
Stoked for this full length. September 24th, Chasing Horizons.
Chasing Horizons.
When did you start playing guitar? We know you have been skating since a young lad.
Yeah.
You skate?
Did you skateboard?
Since 1976.
Since 76. When did you start playing guitar?
Well, I tried to play guitar first, but it was too difficult. So I ended up picking up the bass in 1982. And started the Faction.
Cool.
Skate rock band. And so from 1982 to now, I've been in 4 different bands, and I've switched from bass to guitar, from bass to guitar, from bass to guitar a bunch of times. And even in this band, I went from bass, and I'm like, nope, my love is guitar. I want to play guitar.
So what age were you when you started playing guitar? I always wonder what a good age.
I was 17.
Yeah, 17 is a good age, huh? 15, 16, 17?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I really discovered punk rock and that type of music. And I figured, you know, this is kind of like a really easy way to get into music and learn how to play these songs because they're very simple, very basic, and it wasn't very intricate, you know. And I could play this, you know, I could learn these songs. And over the years, you know, I learned how to play guitar, and I learned to have a good ear for melodies and what I like, and so that's my contribution to this band is I'm using 40 years of experience in listening to different types of music and trying to say, like, I think this will work really nice here. This is, I love melodic stuff. I love stuff that you can sing to, that you can hum to, that it just bring out the best in each instrument, but make it melodic and make it very pleasant to your ear.
What's your favorite band?
It changes.
Mine too.
It changes over the years. But in the last couple of years, it went from Rise Against to never even really bat an eye to Alkaline Trio. I didn't even get into Alkaline Trio only because Matt was in Blink, and I loved those 2 albums that they came out. So I was like, oh, well, let me go backwards and check out his band that he actually came from, and then I fell in love with his voice and songwriting there. So
also done by Cameron Webb.
Yeah, so it changed. It's been changing, but recently, and then being in this band, these guys have introduced me to newer music as well. So like I've just heard the Lillingtons for the first time, and I really like them. So it changes, but I think what you hear in this band, you're going to hear what our influences are and what we like. You'll once you hear the whole album, you'll be like, oh, I know what they like.
You mentioned Alkaline Trio. That's kind of what I hear. You guys do have your own sound, but I definitely heard those Alkaline vibes a bit, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I have the Rise Against tattoo right here, buddy.
Nice. I love that album. You know.
Do you know? Have you met Tim? Do you know Tim?
I know Tim and Joe.
One of the best punk rock voices on the planet, in my opinion.
No, just and I didn't discover them until probably 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. It's just like there's a lot of bands that there's a point sometimes you just don't start listening to new music. Or you're stuck in your bands, and the bands you listen to all the time, you just keep listening to those over and over.
So guilty of that. So guilty of the tunnel vision. Just stay with what you love.
Yeah. So, but 90s punk rock really hit home for me.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, in the skating world, that went fully like rap. Like all skate videos were all rap in the early 90s, and I just kind of stayed strong in my roots of punk, and I just kept listening to punk stuff. So like bands like Mill and Colin, bands like Pennywise, Strung Out, Face to Face, No Effects, those bands.
Maybe No Use.
Yeah, No Use for Name.
Yeah.
Those
right
bands.
There with Chad, right? I would say those align pretty well with you.
Those align rad. Like it's like the perfect blend of influences. Yeah. Like there's so many that just line up all of our stuff.
You made some correct choices, Cab.
I like what I like, Dude, and totally. Like I said, these are great bands, and to get like reviews and like I played the music to Jim from Pennywise, and he loves our band. And it's just so great to hear someone who I respect in the music business is really stoked on our band. We're just like some band that just started, but he's like, I really don't like that like yelling punk rock. I love stuff that's melodic, and you guys got something going good. And I'm like, dude, I totally appreciate that. Like that is big coming from you because I respect you.
Is it just me, or do you start to like the melodies a little bit as you get older?
It's not just that. I think the same thing that makes us guilty of not learning new music. Right. Is that the tunnel vision part? Yeah. Is like skipjack thing. We were very, very prone to not changing our recipe. Even when that kind of music for 10 years wasn't very cool. Like, let's just still do what we want to do, and it's going to come back full circle. And about 2012, that started to pick back up again. Right. You kind of get stuck into one thing, but as you open your eyes and ears to other people's influences, where like I might not have heard as much Alkaline Trio, or I might not have heard this way, but like when you open your ears to other things, you're just like, oh,
totally.
Well, I've liked this all the time, and I didn't know that now I'm capable of this. Like now I'm broadening my.
And I was on the Vans Warped Tour for years, and Alkaline Trio was playing all the time. Did I care? I didn't care at all. I didn't care about that style of music and that band. To the point where they opened up for the Misfits when the Misfits first got back together in L.A. What's that show?
At the Forum?
At the Forum.
Yeah.
I'm listening to the opening band. I'm like, why would someone put Alkaline Trio with the Misfits? Like, this does not work, right? Because I didn't care about them.
Totally.
Did you text Skiba that?
No, I haven't. But I'm just saying, like, what? Like, how do those two bands together? They're not even from the same genre. Like,
Right.
they don't even sound the same. Like, why would they even play together? Because I didn't care. But then when I opened my eyes and ears to actually listen to Alkaline Trio, I like the music, you know? And like I said, I would have never listened to them if Matt didn't join Blink, because I was a big fan of Blink 182.
We want Tom back, right? I mean, I feel like with Mark's situation here, you know, we're sending him good vibes, of course.
Yeah.
But maybe that'll get Tom back on stage with him, right?
Possibly. I think that's definitely your re-entrance point if you had my suggestion. But, like,
right.
I don't know. Like, it all kind of, like, all these things are happening for some other reason. Like, look at, with Tom not doing his Blink-182 thing, he's accomplished, like, huge goals that he set out for 20 years to accomplish. Like, and he's done really well with it, with his Academy and Angels and Airwaves and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It was time to grow apart. And there's those purists that are always going to hate that new guy that's doing what somebody else came up with. But Skiba does an insanely good job at all of it.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
And
in all
Mark
of it.
sings a lot of those songs. Like, I never even really paid attention, but Mark sings a lot of Blink songs. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, Tom's not missed that much. I mean, his voice is very distinct, but I think he does a great job with Angels and Airwaves. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, what he's done with that band. And I never even heard of Boxcar Racer until I started researching Tom and, like, what has he done besides Blink? And that Boxcar Racer album is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I think it would be rad. It's like, I don't really follow either one of the bands very much, you know,
Right.
but maybe they have Tom and Skiba in the same band, and it's...
Create a dream bill for you guys. We're going to dream with you guys before we wrap it up. I think we've covered most of everything, but
I've seen you do
pick-
this.
yeah,
I've seen
a
you do
dream
this
bill.
before, and I've dreaded this.
So we'll dream with you guys. Add a couple bands and choose a venue. All right?
And it's people that are existing now and non-existing, like my all-time dream.
Yeah, let's say Alive or Dead.
Alive or dead. 5 bands?
Let's just do
Well, I
3.
definitely want Minor Threat to open up our show.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's do 5 because that was a
Make
quick
sure
one.
they're the opener.
Yeah, they're the opener.
So Minor Threat, Urethane, 3 more.
I'm going to have to go with, here's where I'm lame. I'm different. Buddy Holly would have to be on there. Like 150%.
Yeah, headliner maybe, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of solo. I'm gonna have to say No Use for a Name. Tony Sly back.
Right.
Well, name something out of your.
I mean, I wouldn't mind having Metallica be on the bill.
I'm shooting low. I got low standards here.
Yeah, be like
They can play second.
If you could bring a musician back from the dead, who would it be?
For me personally, it would be Tony, because he's,
Did you know him personally?
yes.
Okay.
And he's from my hometown, San Jose. And the odd thing was, so when I was in this band Soda, this DJ passed away, and we were doing a benefit show to honor this DJ guy that kind of helped us get on the radio. So we regrouped Soda, and Tony was supposed to play an acoustic set after ours. And I'm in Europe, and I get a phone call from our bass player saying, "Hey, did you hear the news?" I'm like, "What?" This is a week before we were going to play the show. So Tony passed away. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like dumbfounded. I'm like, "Are we still playing the show? Like, what are we doing?" He's like, "Yeah, we're still going to play, but we're playing for Two Widows." You know, and they both showed up at the show, and it was a great show.
Yeah.
I really fell in love with Tony's acoustic stuff.
Me too, with Joey Cave,
Joey.
man.
Oh,
Oh,
that
man, I
stuff's
saw
beautiful.
him at House of Blues. My Tony story is I met him at the Urinal at House of Blues. Acoustic acoustic show, and he's great. I love his acoustic stuff almost as much as new fans.
He's one of those rare people that come into music that it doesn't matter what he was doing, whether it was his acoustic thing or whether it was slow no use for a name or fast no use for a name. He has. You believe him,
right?
When he sings, you believe him.
Oh yeah, one of the best songwriters I've heard in a long time.
Ever.
And so when I first started Soda, I just started Soda, and all of a sudden, their bass player Steve Pahutis wanted to record our album, but then they lost their guitar player. So he's like, "Hey, we're looking for a guitar player. Do you think you might want to play guitar for No Use for a Name?" And I just started Soda. I'm like, I just started this band. I can't just like throw this band away and I'm a professional skateboarder. I can't just. They were a touring band, so I just can't leave everything and hop on tour. So I said,
van, trailer, ramp.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not even going to try out, and which was my choice, but was a good choice for them because that's when they got Chris Shiflett to join the band, and he's a great guitar player and actually a way better singer. So he fit really well for No Use for a Name. And then as years passed on, he left and joined the Foo Fighters. So Chris Shiflett's in the Foo Fighters.
There you go. The rest is history.
Yeah.
If you could wave a wand and make one band never exist, who would it be?
That's the
I'm glad to see you laughing, Steve.
Worst question.
You know, we retired Nickelback. We retired Imagine Dragons. They got brought up too much. And not to hate, but who's someone that you're maybe not too into? Or maybe a genre?
Shoot.
I've got one that could make me the most hated person probably in this genre of music. And
let's do it.
So, you know, like social media will do those like, here's a band that you can't stand but everybody else loves, and you name that band or whatever, and you watch people argue on Facebook and stuff like that. To me, it's Jawbreaker.
Okay.
It's Jawbreaker.
And I love Jets to Brazil, which Jawbreaker turned into Jets to Brazil.
And and it's
not a Jawbreaker fan, but I loved what he did afterwards.
Okay, fair enough. We'll blow them away now.
It's Jawbreaker.
Dude, really nice chatting with you guys. Steve, I could spend an hour on your skate background. I did a lot of, research. I watched Bones last night, Bones Brigade. That documentary does much more justice to your legacy and your skateboarding career than I could ever do on this podcast. So if you haven't seen Bones Brigade, check it out. But Hall of Fame skateboarder, you made up your own moves. You got the Caballero.
Caballero.
Yeah,
the Caballero, I think, is a sickness you catch. You
got the full cab, the half cab. I mean, a total legend is my point here.
Yeah.
I think I need to at least acknowledge that and shout that out. I don't know how that fits into music.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it helps bring attention to the band. And it even started like that back in 1982 when I first did the Faction. I mean, we did tours around the U.S. in a small van, and only people really booked us because they heard the professional skateboarder was in the band. Yeah. So I've always kind of used that as an advantage. Just a little something to get someone's attention, and then try to let the music speak for itself. But I feel like this band right here, the music definitely speaks for itself, and they really don't need my name to help promote it. But it does help. It helps get our foot into the door of someone really wanting to notice, like, hey, what's he doing now? And so, like I said, I'm very proud for these people to hear this record when it comes out, because it's really good. Like, I humbly say it's one of the best projects I've ever been a part of.
It is good, dude. And I'm stoked for you, Chad. I've known you personally for 20 years. Cybertracks, it's a big deal, dude. I'm a pop punk melodic kind of guy, dude. So when you send it over to me, I know it's different from Skipjack a little bit. I was stoked on it. I like it. I dig it. I look forward to seeing you guys live. It's dropping September 24th, Chasing Horizons.
But Chad's singing as well. On the record, he's...
I'm not into it anymore.
The one thing that I think people are going to be surprised of, they've seen the bass and the guitar playing and everything else. Steve sings more than anybody, because
you guys all singing?
The days that we did a lot of the backups for, I couldn't be there a lot of the backup days.
Who's doing the harmonies on the tracks?
That's mostly Steve.
Good job, bro.
So I think that's where the biggest surprise.
Cameron did a really good job. Harmonies can be too high. They sound sweet,
but they're not pickled at all. Like, that's Steve.
Right.
Like, he worked.
That's a few takes, huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked us.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring that up too. Like, I've never worked with a producer before, and I've never worked with someone saying, like, you got to play that part over again. And I'm like, why? He's like, you bent the note. I'm like, you heard that? Like, where'd I bend the note at? He's like, you bent the note. I heard it. You can do better.
Wow.
He's like, and you're going to do the same on the next 60 takes.
Yeah.
You leave the studio a better musician.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He brings the best out of you.
Right.
You leave Cameron's exhausted, but it's all good. When you come home the last time, you're like, oh, it turned out really good.
We were exhausted. Like, I was joking about, like, now I didn't know what a 9-to-5 job feels like, because we'd meet at the park and ride at 8, drive an hour to the studio, be in there all day, drive another hour back to park and ride, go home. I just want to fall asleep, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, do it over
I
again.
still had another 40 minutes to drive from the park and ride to get out here.
Yeah, so it was long days for 3 weeks straight, and I'm like, this is work. This is actually work. Like,
Sure.
I'm like, wow. But at the end, the product will speak for itself, and we put our heart and soul in it, and we trusted Cameron with a lot of things, and he really, really knows. And what I loved about Cameron as well, you could see how passionate he was with this project. Like, he showed that he actually really cared. He wasn't some just engineer that just wanted to get you in there and get you out.
Right.
Like, he really, really had ideas, and,
Awesome.
and he really was working with all of us. And there'll be times he like Chad said, I sang on this more than I thought I would ever sing on anything. And so he brought out the best of me in that, and then which in turn gave me confidence to belt it out. You know.
Right. I look forward to hearing the full 12 song.
I can't wait
12
for you to
songs?
hear it. I can't wait for you to hear
Yes,
it.
12.
I think you're
I've
gonna be
been
stoked.
wanting a San Diego band to really break out and make it, and I feel like you guys have potential, and I feel like you've already made it.
I hope so.
In-
We're
in a
all,
lot of ways.
We're all invested for whatever it takes to get this thing out and going as hard as we can.
You've been putting some time into this, huh, Chad?
All of 6 months.
Chad's a hard worker.
Well, I mean, dude,
and
Chad's
he's always got something cooking. You know, he's always got some present for us. Hey, look what I lined up here. Look, so he's definitely is working his connections.
Well, no, we're both kind of cooks. I can say.
Yeah.
I'll go, hey, I got us a string deal. Steve goes, well, somebody's sending us to the moon next week. So it's like, yeah.
You got the Cybertrax deal. That's
So
rad.
It's almost a competition of like, what can I bring to the band? Yeah. Oh, well, check out this. Who reviewed this time? This is who I know, and this is what they think about the band.
Dude, that is a healthy competition,
Yeah,
man.
so, and it's all positive stuff. So, like, months down the road, you're going to see me and Steve, like,
yeah.
that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
No, but you know, we were supposed to have hire someone to design the album, and Chad did it himself. You know, he's got skills.
You did? I thought you mentioned the other guy that
Mark
designed the
DeSalvo
album.
painted it.
Okay,
like
what do you
our-
mean by design?
Like, just throwing it together, or, you know,
together,
the
you know.
product design.
Sure, got it.
Yeah, we had the artwork from Mark, who
Right.
had the cover.
Actually, yeah.
But Chad
Cool.
designed, like, laid it out,
Cool.
Yeah.
everything.
Chad's been
All
going
of
at
it.
it for a long time, dude.
A few minutes.
To kiss your ass here for a minute. I mean, me and you, like I said, local bands and recording bands and building relationships. You're rocking the Slaboratory hat right now.
Those are my
I think we got to
boys.
shout out Trent and all the guys over there. Congrats.
Thank you so much,
You're
man.
welcome.
I appreciate it. Inviting us over to your house and your palapa.
This is my doghouse, dude.
You're,
when the wife gets mad at me.
You got to hang out with your wife and daughter.
I
And
brought
I
you
wish
some food behind us.
Is this
so
where
let's
the
eat.
barbecue
Yeah, let's
sits?
eat, brother. Yeah, it
it
is.
is.
Yeah. Steve Caballero, Chad Ruiz, thank you guys. Urethane, September 24th. Chasing Horizons. And Gravity is out now, the single and the music video by Mario Rivera.
Yep.
Pumped. Thank you guys for your time.
Thanks so much,
Yeah.
brother.
Thank you. Appreciate you.